Last week, I built 5 famous logos out of Lego. And you know what? We're going to be running that back because we're going to be making 5 more famous logos out of Lego. So we're back with part 2. So what we're going to do is we're not going to use any instructions. And I didn't really plan any of these ahead of time. And some of these are going to end up being way harder to make than they originally look. So I think that we kind of have to start with the Lego logo, because I can't believe that I didn't make the Lego logo in the last video, because it just feels like it's mandatory to make. So the background was pretty easy to make, it's just red. But the letters were the scary part, because if they're even like one stud off, your brain is going to instantly know that it's wrong. So it did take me a few different attempts to make, but I think I ended up with something that was alright. The letters did end up being a bit more bigger and thicker than I originally planned, but that's just how it had to end up because of how the letters looked. And I did put a lot more yellow in the background than I planned, but again, what can you really do? At least that makes it easier to read from a further distance. So I think this one ends up just looking the most right out of them all. But I did make a few other concepts of them because I actually do want to, keep this up on my shelf. So I'll let you guys in the comments decide which one I should keep built. Alright, next up we are going to be making the NASA logo. So this logo is super clean and it's also full of curves. And one thing that Lego hates? Curves. So this was pretty hard to make. I was originally going to plan on making the letters, but there was just no way I was going to be able to put the letters on this, because the letters stick out on the logo, and I just could not even be bothered trying to figure out how to do that. And the red line that goes across also took me way too long to make, and I don't think it even turned out too well either. So yeah, here it is. I mean, you probably know it's NASA because I told you it's NASA, but if you didn't know what logo it was trying to be, I doubt that you would be able to guess that it was NASA. Okay, so next one we're going to be making Instagram, and this one might have been a big mistake. The problem is the color scheme. Because Instagram has a bunch of different light colors like pink, yellow, and orange going across the logo. And that's just going to be very, very hard to replicate in Lego. So you know what I did? I just grabbed some of those colors that I had, and I built a square. And here it is. I've got the little camera thing in the middle. I think it, actually kind of looks alright. It is a bit small, but honestly, I don't think it's that bad. And I'm actually kind of shocked at how decent this one actually turned out. Okay, so now we're moving on to a logo that really stressed me out. The PlayStation logo. Because this is another one that I actually want to have up next to my PlayStation. So the trickiest part about this was definitely making the actual logo, like the white part, not the blue part of the logo. I had to rebuild it a few times just to get it right, but I think that in the end I actually got it to look kind of alright. I admit it definitely could be a lot better, but I do think that the way in which I built it gives it a very clean look. Now let's move on to the last logo, and it's one I'm sure every one of you are familiar with because it is YouTube, and I'm pretty sure that is what you're watching this video on. So this did feel a bit weird to build because I was literally filming a YouTube video, and the corners, they took me absolutely forever to make, but I ended up just deciding to use the same technique that I used for the Instagram build, and you know what, it doesn't actually look too bad, but again, could be a lot better. The white triangle thing, like the press play button, was also really hard to make. I would have liked to have used 2 of these pieces for this logo, because I think that would have been the most perfect piece I could have done. But unfortunately, unless I'm blind, I just couldn't find another one of these pieces, so that just had to do. But you know what? This one could actually be one of my favorites. Alright, so let me know which logo you think turned out the best, and which logos I could make next. Because if this video hits, let's say, I don't know, 100 likes, I'll make a part 3. Anyway, I don't think that's going to be too realistic to reach anytime soon. But I'll see you later. Brick out.